Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 29th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today was another good day. Work went pretty well. I will say the sweet and sour bit, I would say, was a takeaway today. We'll start with the sour bit. A couple of the guys in maintenance came over to me, and for some specific certain reason, they wanted me to look up something on my phone. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. And like, they kept like getting upset with me because my phone has really shitty Wi-Fi service. And they're like, dude, what's the problem? Like, why won't this load? Come on, what's up? What's going on? And I'm like, dude, like, I have shitty service here. Like, I just don't have good reception. I'm sorry. And they're like, you should get on Verizon. Da 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 da. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I was actually like getting like irritated, like, and I was like getting snippy with them. But overall, it was fine. Sometimes you gotta give it as much as you get, right? That's just how it goes in life. But overall, the sweet part was, oh, it was so sweet. So I was walking to clock in at work this morning, and one of the she's a little bit older, one of the older ladies. She's been working here longer than I have, and she stops me and she goes, "Hey, I just wanted to say you look amazing." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And like, she proceeded to ask, like what was I doing in terms of like working out and all that. And I gave her a little quick rundown, and I like was kind of politely like, gave her a little bow, like thank you so much, because I really do appreciate that kind of stuff. Like, I'm surprised. I just don't get tired of someone saying, "Hey, you look great. You're looking good. Keep it up." I'm like, I'm just not used to that. I'm used to being very invisible in my warehouse where I work. Maybe a couple of hi, how you doing, but very, very short, light conversation. Nothing major. And even, um, what was it? I think, yeah, my general manager actually was like walking alongside me, and he proceeded to ask me like, hey, you're doing good, it looks like you lost a lot of weight, it looks like it's working out well for you. And I was just like, I don't know, I was gobsmacked. It was really sweet. And I get compliments like this a lot. I don't always want to mention it on the pod because I think that's just very redundant, and you don't need that, right? Y'all don't want to hear all that, but it really is just a nice little dub to feel seen, and that the work is being appreciated, that people notice. Also, kind of shifting from work into the gym. Also, before we do that, shit smell has been resolved. We had a big rain, so I think it kind of helped wash things out too. So that's good. Awesome. We love that. But shifting to the gym, and actually kind of, a bit of a segue, one of my old coworkers. Now, I've seen this guy before. I knew who he was, but I didn't want to, like, say what's up to a person and then get the cold shoulder. Actually, a little bit of a side story here. When I was out one time, I ran into I was, like, at this bar, and, I'm drinking, I'm getting comfortable, I'm getting cool, I'm getting cozy, and, I saw like several people from the gym that I go to. And one of them, I was like, "Hey man, I see you at the gym all the time." And bro, he just lil broed me. And I'm sorry. Like, if someone younger than you lil bros you, like, yeah, hey, whatever. Like, that shit sucks. I was like, damn, all right, well, never talking to that guy ever again. So I've been hella gun shy about it. I try to, once again, to keep to myself. If someone wants to talk to me, that's fine. I'm all ears. I'll take my little headphones out and I'll say what's up. Or if it's a friend, a person I know, great, awesome. But if I don't think it's going to be a good idea, then I just, zip it. Do my workout. I keep it moving. So it was a really busy day at the gym. I was just trying to make do, fill in the workouts I could, get in where I fit in. Actually, even so, I still wound up like kind of wrapping up early because I just wasn't hitting it as hard for my weight training. We're still in that maintenance phase right now. So I was walking to get, some, some free weights, some barbells, whatever. And dumbbells, right? And the guy, he goes, hey, like, don't I know you? And he proceeds to get it wrong because he goes, "Weren't you like a ref for like something, blah, blah?" And I'm like, "No, no, but I know you. We know each other. Yes, we work together." And, I say the company, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, yeah, man, I remember." He's like, "You just look just like this guy," which, on a fucking side note, do you have a thing where like you have a bunch of doppelgangers and they all are in like the tri-state area where you live and they just exist and people just think you're that guy? Because I've had that since I was like, I don't know, a young adult. Someone's always come up to me and be like, "Hey, didn't I see you at a show? Didn't like, oh, you used to work at blah blah." I've never worked there, like shit like that. I mean, hey, it's a common occurrence. You look like somebody, yada yada yada. But whatever. It was nice to like catch up real quick with him, and that was nice. And of course, he gave me a compliment as well. I shouldn't say of course, but like I was like, "Oh, thanks, man, I appreciate that." And because it's also nice too whenever someone clocks you as like the guy who's always here, like always at the gym. Because once again, y'all know I spent months trying to level up, get my gym rat status. So it's nice that it's noted. It's nice that it's seen. So yeah, overall, put them together. We had a good work shift. We had a good gym session. So overall, a really good day. I would say the sour part of the gym was I tried a new workout. It's nothing crazy, but essentially it's like they call them like a suitcase squat or something like that, briefcase squat, whatever. And you take two dumbbells and you just hit a squat with them. So I was trying to get some reps of that. I added a little bit of weight just to get a little spicy. Not like I wasn't going heavy, but just a little bit heavier than I normally would on a weighted squat. And I do it. I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then I think I try to go do another squat, like just a normal one, and I could just feel like I pulled something. I don't think I pulled something because I was able to walk and do all my cardio just fine. But I was like, owie, owie, that hurt. So bit of an L there. But overall, work went well. Gym went well, so clap it up. It was a good Tuesday. Let's see here. What else do I have? Ooh. I got to do some pre-shout outs. Well, I mean, that's not the exact term. But anyway, I had some new subscribers to the Patreon, I should say. First off, shout out to my mom. Shout out to Mama Bear. She doubled down on her Patreon for me, and she actually gave me a a subscription to my own thing. I didn't have that. You believe it or not, I'm not that vain. I'm not that narcissistic. Plus, technically, it's a loss of money. I'm technically just paying Patreon in that way, but it was very appreciated. I thank you so much, Mother Newsy. And then I want to shout out to my homie Aaron Walden. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, just one, for listening, and then two, you taking it to that next level. That's dope. So I shout you out today. I'm gonna shout you out on the Newsy roll call. So you're getting a little bit of double up because that's coming up soon. So appreciate you. Hearts, all that. You're awesome. You're rad. Appreciate anyone and everybody who obviously puts in just any kind of financial fiscal support to this effort. Sometimes, the grand goal is that I get so much of this that it kind of becomes a little bit more liquid and I can use it to like improve the pod, obviously. But hey, times are tough. I've talked about it. Sometimes you just got to dip in that thing and it helps me, it's like almost like some couch cushion money. Actually, it's better than any couch cushion money I've ever actually, retrieved. So I really appreciate that. That's a bit of a inside baseball behind the curtain shit for you. But yeah, just thank you so much for that. I guess on that note, let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll get into some news. It might be a packed episode. I'm going to pre-warn you. I really want to riff through this. My brain feels like mushy. I don't know why. Like, I'm fine. Like, there's nothing wrong. I don't know. I just kind of want to riff and not read, if you know what I'm saying. But we will do a little bit of both. Column A, column B. Anyway. All right. Our first story comes from the Associated Press. Carney wins Canadian election while conservative leader loses his seat in parliament. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal Party has won the federal election, capping a stunning turnaround in fortunes fueled by U.S. President Donald Trump's annexation threats and trade war. Carney's rival, populist conservative party leader Pierre Poilievre, I'd never get his name right, but whatever, was voted out of his seat in Parliament, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation projected Tuesday. The loss of his seat representing his Ottawa district in Monday's election capped a swift decline in fortunes for the firebrand Poilievre. Whatever. I don't know why I get so stun-locked on his name. I think because I want to say Poilievre, but I think it is Poilievre. Well, whatever. Who a few months ago appeared to be a shoo-in to become Canada's next prime minister and shepherd the Conservatives back into power for the first time in a decade. Now, y'all, at the beginning of this shit, like before Trudeau stepped down, Carney came in, we talked about this. At one point, the Conservative Party in Canada had a double-digit lead. Like, this is what Canada wanted. They were so frustrated with the Liberal Party, the incumbents. They were just looking like a lot like us. They wanted this change. They wanted this, return of something more traditional, blah, 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 blah. But I think, obviously I'm not the only one who thinks this, but with Trump hitting the scene, it really did change everything. And I think people got to see, Canadians got to see, it's like, is this really what you want? Like, do you want your own version of this? Like, instead of America first, Canada first, do you want this? I think especially when, he starts arcing up the talks about trying to say, hey, you guys are going to be the 51st state. He literally said that on their election. Like, that's wild. He called Trudeau, a fucking governor. It's like, bro, stop. What are you doing? He didn't care. He didn't stop. Plus, on top of that, the trade war bullshit. You know what I mean? All this tariff shit. He was hitting them before the trade war, and then then technically everyone gets hit when, he's going up against China blow for blow, and then the universal tariffs and shit, which we're going to be talking more about tariffs in this episode. But, it was a backlash. There was aftermath to this. And I remember talking about when Carney hit the scene. This guy has no real chops, no real bona fides outside of the financial sector. Sure, he's done a little bit of talking on the political stage, but he is new to this. It just doesn't look good. They were still down, I think about 6 points last time we talked about this in terms of polling and stuff. But I think that was before all the trade war shit hit on top of it. So I think people really realized they didn't want to vote a guy like Poilievre, who is going to be their version. And what's the best case scenario? Go tip to tip with Donald Trump? You're already losing this. It's probably not what you want. And I think they said, ooh, let's actually just keep it liberal. Let's just keep it liberal, and we'll feel better that way. Elbows up, or whatever the fuck that little saying is. So Donald Trump really low-key was the best thing to happen to the Liberal Party here in Canada. I think that's generally the consensus. And hey, good for them. I think, overall their policies are a little bit lukewarm or whatever. Also, there's another issue as well here where they did not, to my knowledge, get the majority in Parliament. So they still have to consolidate power with other groups in order to stay, actually rule, to actually keep in control, mandate, whatever the fuck. So also the Poilievre guy, he's still on the scene. I think he still might be able to have power, have exertion in some way, shape, or form. I didn't really get details out of this article, but that's something that's still on the table. So he's not exactly completely knocked out, even though he lost his seat. But yeah, that's really where I wanted to start it off. I still love this. I still think this is great because I want to always see less conservative shit, more liberal shit. I don't care if it's just lib bullshit. I don't care if it's just Democratic bullshit, dude. I don't. That is still better to me than the alternative, especially when you see how far motherfucking conservatives are willing to take this shit these days. There's no limit. They might dub themselves a libertarian and then just go even crazier if we're talking a Malay figure or whatever the fuck. I want to see less of that. I just do. I always do. I'm always gonna. What can I tell you? So, to me, I'll consider this a win. I'll consider it a dub. In terms of like how he's going to rule and govern, I mean, that remains to be seen. I'm sure if anything major happens out of Canada, we will be here to talk about it for sure, for sure. But anyway, let's mosey on along. Let's go ahead and move to our next story from the Business Insider. UPS says it is cutting 20,000 staff and shuttering over 70 facilities. UPS plans to slash 20,000 jobs this year as part of a cost-cutting drive amid the shifting global trade landscape triggered by Donald Trump's tariffs. Excuse me. The move comes as the shipping giant grapples with soft demand, especially from its largest customers. UPS said it would also look to close 73 facilities by the end of June. That's a massive blow. Like we've covered like layoffs and shit of this nature before. Something like this, it just feels so swift and sudden. Like, but then again, we're not in a normal situation when you have an imposing tariff that we have here. Like, and you're already having to like do the logistics on this shit and say, oh, well, we have to assume that come the 90 days, this squeeze is just going to be the realest thing. Like, he's not going to fix anything. Once again, a little bit more details on some Trump tariff shit coming down the pipe. But that being said, it puts companies like UPS, it puts automakers, it puts everybody in this kind of vice grip where they're like, yeah, we have to act like this is the worst case scenario. Now, I also had this thought here when I was like reading this, thinking about this shit. Is this something to at least some extent, something like UPS is probably already gonna do? Maybe. That's possible. It's a thought. But I think no matter what, it goes without saying that a tariff like this, like I said, once again, it's already a universal tariff that we all know we have to deal with. You already see how high it is with China and how that's going to have like this trickle down effect everywhere. So what do? You have to live in this world as it is and how it's going to be according to what Donald Trump has said. Sure, he might do his old brinksmanship shit and like turn the tide on it a little bit or ease off, but he also might not and then just fuck us all. He might be down to do that. He might literally be down to just send us into a recession. So you have to kind of make these tough decisions right here, right now, right? While you can still, quote unquote, preserve your bottom line, your profits. And that to me is always like the evil shit to me. I get it. Yes, these companies are here to make what? Money. I get it. But once again, you have people's lives here and you're just kicking them to the fucking curb. Like, now what are they going to fucking do? Like, it's a scramble. I can't imagine that this is a good time right now to be looking for a job. I would just hate to be fucking out of work right now. That's so fucking scary. The shit that your bills are just getting higher. God damn it. Like, so just wild in that regard. Definitely really upsetting to see. Once again, also this company can, save money. I have the details here, but I'll just kind of skip through that. I really feel like that's all I really want. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to cover on this UPS shit. Let's get to the other part of this Trump's tariff shit that I wanted to get to. I've been kind of alluding to from Reuters. Trump eases auto tariffs burden as Lutnick, also boo Howard Lutnick, what a fucking freak, touts first foreign trade deal. I just don't like him. I'm just not a fan. The more I learn about that fucker, the less I like him. He's just up to no good. He's like a movie villain, like a cartoon movie villain. Like, I feel like you see this guy on like Despicable Me or some shit, bro. Anyway. U.S. President Donald Trump signed a pair of orders to soften the blow of his auto tariffs on Tuesday, with a mix of credits and relief from other levies on materials. And his trade team touted its first deal with a foreign trading partner, which was Lutnick. He did not say who it was. He's like, I'm waiting for their prime minister and their parliament to, actually approve everything, but we got a deal done. And literally he did that to affect the market, which to me, and I think once again to other people, seems illegal. It seems really not okay to do that. But hey, you're the Trump administration, you have the powers. Who's going to stop you? They already got to fight you on so much other shit. So what's this? It's just a conversation. It's just some statements, right? But whatever, we move. The developments helped ease some investor worries about the erratic trade policies of Trump as the president visited Michigan, a cradle of the U.S. auto industry, just days before a fresh set of 25% import taxes was set to kick in on automotive components. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of like how these tariffs trickle in, I'm not necessarily, doing the best in terms of keeping up when they hit, when whatever. But, obviously the Trump administration has to do this. They've said, hey, we're going to do 90 deals in like 90 days. They made a statement like that at one point. Like, okay, good luck, dude. Like, this is all your fault. Just fucking fix it. Fix it, please. And they probably will not. We will probably be fucked no matter what here, by the way. Spoilers. The trip on the eve of his 100th day in office came as Americans take an increasingly dim view of Trump's economic stewardship, with indications his tariffs will weigh on growth and could drive up inflation and unemployment. I wanted to read that specifically because a lot of this week is people talking about Trump hitting his 100th day in office. What does it look like? What are his approval ratings? His approval ratings are shit. They're bad. I think 42% lower maybe in other polling. It's not looking good for G. It's like some of the worst fucking polls you've seen from a president in the first 100 days. But are you really that surprised? Like, no, I'm fucking not. It's also crazy to like hear people defend it. Like they defend this shit. Like just give it time, specifically on the trade shit. Like I get that like with immigration, you've already decided, some of these motherfucking people, to just be heartless about it. You don't care. You want to see high numbers, and Trump is trying to deliver on that, so you don't care. You're like, good, this is good. I don't care that it's kids potentially getting deported. I don't care if it's like mothers getting ripped apart from their parents. I don't care. I don't care if they have citizenship. Fuck them. Goodbye. They don't care. They just don't. You're not reaching them on this shit. But you would think when it's their job, like when it is their pay, like it is their bills that are going up. It is the expenses that they have to pay for day to day that is just rocketing up on them. They're literally getting boiled alive. There's like, nah, he's still a good businessman. We just have to wait. Brother, do you understand the concept at hand? I really don't think a lot of these motherfuckers really do, or no, they don't care. But it's like, he's saying you're going to suffer. This momentary discomfort is going to last for years. And then, after so long, this fantasy is supposed to unfurl and bloom a bunch of factories? And for what? So that you and your fucking children and their children's children can work and die in them for like little pay? That is what he wants to do here. Industrialization will not work here. We don't have the, we are not going to do it. There's so much economic bullshit reasoning on why that's such a bad call to even try, but it doesn't matter because it sounds good. And people, even like union guys I hear, like, well, we do need to actually bring the plants back home. Motherfucker, that is not going to work. Like, as long as capitalism is a thing, we are not getting those kind of things happening here. It's just not, brother. Because at the end of the day, sadly, you can outsource that labor to someone for very fucking cheap. And is that good? No, it's not fucking good. But guess what? It gets us our fucking bullshit for real cheap. And once again, then you can go back to eating your jalapeno poppers and being happy again. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat or whatever. That is what you want. Especially as an American. That's what our fat asses just want. I ain't gonna lie to you on that. We're gonna keep it a buck. So, this shit is so fucking counterintuitive. And it's just this pissy little fantasy dream that these tariffs are gonna work out. Oh, tariffs, such a beautiful word. Like, shut the fuck up. You're choking all of us. It's crazy. He's trying to peel us back from the brink that he put us on. Like, it's so frustrating. And once again, you still have these guys saying he's a great businessman. You just got to be patient. You just got to trust the process. There's, once again, a lot of numbers here. I highlighted a portion I just wanted to read. The White House said the change will not affect the 25% tariffs imposed last month on the 8 million vehicles the United States imports annually. So essentially, he realizes that this part shit is an issue. You have to kind of keep this shit down. But once again, you're still not fully fixing the problem at hand here, and companies are still suffering. You still have the UPS shit as an issue. You still have other companies like saying, hey, I think Heinz is mentioned in this article as well. It's like, look, we are going to struggle and suffer because of these tariffs. We're going to get bodied. Like, we think we're going to make it. We feel okay in that regard maybe, but it's not going to be good for us. We're not going to be doing well under this shit. And it's even these automotive companies who have been begging and beating down his goddamn door to make this shit happen. Like, they're still not actually happy. They're just saying, hey, this is a little bit of progress. This is something. So, I mean, like I said, spoiler alerts, we're still fucked. This isn't good, but maybe the silver lining here is that hopefully Trump realizes in this game of fucking chicken, he's losing. He's not just losing in this trade war. He's losing in like his popularity here. Like he's losing in polling numbers. And I do think that at least two things you can kind of count on Trump kind of giving at least a shit about: his polling numbers and what does the stock market look like. Now, granted, in the second term, he's been way more laissez-faire. He's been way more fucking bold about what he is going to push and when he's going to back down. But we have seen him back down now. And I think this is another example of it, and that's why it's worth mentioning. Also, before I get off of this isn't in my little article stack queue, whatever, but Amazon came up today because I think the plan was they were planning on posting how much the tariffs were going to affect the prices on Amazon. Now, this is something I mentioned before, I want to say a week or two ago when I was going to buy shorts, how I could already see, because I think that was the week that the tariff shit was hitting, how much it was already affecting things in terms of things were already priced more and it was going to take longer to get to you. That it seemed like they kind of smoothed over a little bit because I wound up having to like get we talked about my hoochie days I got. So to an extent, things are smoothing down, but once again, this shit is pending. It's only going to get worse. The squeeze is only going to get harder. So they were going to mention these numbers and how much the tariffs were going to affect them. They got lambasted by the Trump administration. They're like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's fucked up of you. I thought you were a gang. What the fuck? Paraphrasing, of course. And then Amazon came out and said, no, we were never going to do that. What? No, you're crazy. Where'd you hear that from? That's wild. Cap. So yeah, this tariff shit is not sitting well with anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a rich motherfucking corporation. It doesn't matter if you're a fucking, dumb fuck like me. You're not happy to see this shit. And yes, there are still some loyalists, some steadfast motherfuckers who are always going to be happy with whatever the fuck Trump does. They don't care. But there's also a ton of people who were like, yeah, I voted for this guy just like I voted for Obama, whatever. But I didn't think that this was going to be this bad. I thought it was going to be like the first time. Which, once again, I still think people have a level and smear of delusion that, like, the Trump 1.0 was actually good for you. No, motherfucker, you just made it and then COVID happened and maybe, like, you kind of just thought about COVID for the rest of the time. But, like, this shit was shitty. And shit is only getting worse now. Like, once again, why are you surprised? But, yeah, that's the guy you voted for, motherfucker. You dummy. Anyway. Those are things I felt like were worth mentioning. We got an update I want to get to, but let me take a water break. I yapped a little too hard here. I hit the yap max on that one. This motherfucker made me so mad, man. 100 days. It feels like it's been a year. Ugh, it's so miserable. But you know what, y'all? I try to stay positive. I try to keep it. Speaking of 2016 and Trump 1.0, I remember that desolation feeling. I remember being really upset back then and just feeling like, not only is this guy in power, but what a backslide I felt like from Obama to this. Even though really it's really not that big of a leap if we really get into the fucking guts of it. But whatever. That's for a leftist in another time. But I remember being so fucking bummed. And then, as the weeks moved on, progressed, I was like, we're going to keep it going. This shit is not going to stop me. It's not going to stop us. It's not going to stop anything. And I found myself doing the same thing in the 2.0, only, in this sense, I've already been, like, working out. So there's this, like, almost mental edge of, like, I'm literally going to just get stronger. I don't care. I'm just going to go lift. I don't give a shit. Anyway, let's get back to this update. Let's get back to the news. Enough about me. From the Associated Press. Wisconsin High Court suspends Milwaukee judge accused of helping man evade immigration authorities. The Wisconsin Supreme Court suspended a judge accused of helping a man evade immigration authorities, saying Tuesday that it is in the public interest to relieve her of her duties as she faces 2 federal charges. So this is about Judge Hannah Dugan. We won't really get into the weeds about it. I just wanted to mention that she's going to be suspended. I believe we can actually just smash to when her trial stuff's supposed to start. I think it's in May. Yeah, May 15th. But yeah, I mean, we literally just recently covered the details. You can hit this article if you want to read them. I still stand by what I said. Do I understand how potentially this can be conceived and maybe it is, legally wrong, but morally correct. At least in terms of like what was her intentions, what was she trying to do here. It's like there's a due process at hand, and like yes, am I potentially like foregoing that here in a way, but like I'm not letting you just take this guy, even though they didn't wind up just taking the guy, you know. But that being said, it seems like there are some repercussions here already with her being suspended. But we'll see how those charges go, and if it is just going to wind up as a suspension, or it might actually be jail time. Because once again, I mean, we got Trump 2.0 in power, so they might really want to make an example here. Bondi was talking that big shit, so Pam Bondi, that is, Attorney General Pam Bondi. Anyway, let's see here. We're on our last story. We got to get a little nutty. But let's take our last break. Let's decompress. Yes, let's decompress, and we'll close it out. This is going to just be quick and easy, too. So, I need that. I feel like we need that. Oh, man. Ooh-wee. All right. Our last story comes from Local 12. Nut company recalls product over possible life-threatening reactions. The Mauna Loa macadamia nut company has announced a voluntary recall of its dark chocolate covered macadamias due to potential allergy risks. The company stated that the product may contain almonds and cashews, which are not listed on the packaging. People who have allergies or severe sensitivity to almonds and cashews run the risk of serious or life-threatening allergic reactions if they eat them, the company said. So yeah, just obviously check the products, be aware, you know what to do on a recall, throw that shit away, go take it back, get your refund if you need to. Just, be careful. I know that tree nut shit, that nut shit, it's serious. When you got a nut allergy, that's intense. Like, especially lately, because I've always been a peanut butter guy, right? Like, it's not my favorite thing. It hasn't been my favorite thing. I still love like chocolate overall, but like a Reese's is good from time to time, right? A peanut butter jelly sandwich, good, So especially now that peanuts have become such a daily diet thing for me, like it's a core snack for me. Eating trail mix. Peanut allergy would jam me up. Any kind of nut allergy, that would jam me up. Plus, it's in so many foods, and it can be so easy to just forget to mention that or make a note of it or even notice it yourself. So, yeah, that fucking nut allergy would fuck me up. I love the nut. No, pause. No, let's see. Oh, there have been some studies, too, that I've missed over the years that I probably should cover, but I don't like always covering studies sometimes, where it's like they've been working on making, I wouldn't say curing the nut allergy, but essentially like suppressing it so much so that you can have a few peanuts a day. And I find that to be fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, on that nut, I'll leave it there. If you'd like to help out, support the effort. We did a little baby roll call here. We mentioned a couple of names, couple of people, but we got the full roll call coming up. Kind of crazy, hey, we got a new member. She's feeling like One Piece. I don't know. I shouldn't mention One Piece. I never watched that shit. But no, it is always good to see that grow. We do the roll call top of the month. I plug your name. I plug a project if you want. What are some other perks? Look, there is a bit of a friend bonus. I'll say that. I'll keep it real here. Let me smooth the pot a little bit. But I'll also add, too, that if you're just a good friend to me, I will tell you extra stories. There are bonus stories. There are sometimes I don't give all the deets for either sake of time or privacy or whatever. But sometimes, I got to give you a little extra details if you want them. They're there. They're on the table. They're on the floor, if you will. You can always ask me. I'm an open book, especially to my newsies. You get like an extra buff. But I mean, granted, once again, if you're a real one, I know you, I fuck with you, you probably already know shit. You probably already privy to shit. But yeah, you get a little bonus there. Not to be parasocial, but yeah. I plug you. I shout you out at the top of the month, plug a project, whatever. It's almost like a little commercial, a little cameo space, if you like, shout you out. But really, it's just a tip jar, y'all. There's some old archived episodes, too, if you want to hear some of my, sloppy practice on some of the things that I still just fuck up anyway now. But, those are there. And a little bit of lore, a little bit of my church lore is also in some of those episodes, or one of those episodes. So, there's that, little nuggets, little kernels of truth and whatnot there. I don't know. I'm terribly shilling. Anyway, freeways, hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening on. I really appreciate that. It is a good boost to the algo, just like liking the episode, just like leaving a comment and sharing. Those are always helpful. But if you don't do that, that's okay. I really just appreciate you listening and tuning in. Whenever a homie says, hey, I peeped some shit, my favorite thing is when I go to explain a thing and they go, I know, Isaiah. And I look at them almost dumbfounded for like a nanosecond because I'm like, wait, because you already listened. And it's so real. You're so real for that. So I just want you to know that it really does mean so much that you tune in for this experience. We never know how it's really going to go. You just know I'm going to fuck it up sometime, some way, somehow. But it's going to be fun, I hope. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully it's good, It's cathartic for me. Hopefully it's good for you. I don't know. Whatever. I'm losing my voice over this. I love it so much. God damn. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.